Hello, hello. I love seeing the clock turn over, the phone clock turn over to 10:57 because it means I can begin to talk. So, of course, take a deep breath. What oils have you chosen to have around you and to use today? I've chosen, well, of course, we all know Frances has tons of oils around her at all times. And I've decided that the first one that I'm going to use is going to be One Voice. I've just received this. This is the foundation, the Young Living Foundation blend created this year. One Voice, intending that my voice be one voice with all of you, and that whatever I say is meaningful for you on some level. So I'm going to put it all over me, and then get out my bowls and just breathe in these frequencies and enjoy. I apologize that my ring hit the bowl part of that time. And for those of you who may be new, we use the bowls to change the frequency in this room and to change the frequency going out. My intent is always to have my frequency, my energy at the highest level so that whatever I say will go out and enhance the frequencies of each of you, rather than to drag you down. So we've talked a lot about frequencies over the last few weeks and last months, and we'll probably continue to do so, since frequencies are, all energy has a frequency. Frequencies are energy. So each one of us is affected by every frequency around. This is why the one heart and one voice is so totally appropriate, because we are all affected by the frequencies running through every one of us. So, what are we talking about today? Well, when I thought about the title, Reboot Your Refinement, I thought this would be last Sunday. Well, guess what? Frances was preparing, and I realized I needed to reboot before I began to talk about this. So hence the week interval. At any rate, what do you do when everything is overwhelming? What happens? How many of you, I'm sure every single one of you, has at one time or another, your computer has hung up, or your phones have hung up, you couldn't do anything with them. And whatever you tried to do, nothing seemed to make it work any better. Now, I'm not a computer person. I'm really not that's not my strength. However, I do know that throwing it on the ground and stepping on it is not going to help. What does often bring about the best solution of all, to unplug it, to turn it off, to get it away from whatever it was doing before. And taking a hint from our electronic devices, we also require that. Makes sense, doesn't it? So this is a magnificent time of the year, I think. First of all, we're in a brand new month. We have a brand new empty moon, a brand new moon this week. We have all sorts of frequencies. We've just been through the equinox. So it just shifts. It's a perfect time for shifts. And we're in a Mercury retrograde with a bunch of other planets going backwards. So the energies are all really, really maybe strange. And some people really look at a retrograde as being a negative thing. Well, I have a whole long list of words that to me are associated with retrograde, with redoing, reviewing, reassessing, and now I have reboot. So that as we are reevaluating, we can recreate whatever we choose to have. Stephen loves to say that it's about, I'm going to get it wrong. I am sure that I'm going to get it wrong. Commit to change. Commit to change. It's not what you're thinking about doing. I finally got it, Stephen. It came through. It's not what you're thinking about doing. It's what you're actually doing. Now, to reinforce that, what are you doing? What are you doing about it? My cards, my rainbow healing cards that I drew for this session are just absolutely, they're spot on. So I drew fire, which is all about change and creation, recreating things the way we would choose to have them. I actually also chose the creation hologram, these fiery things, and not to be left out, breath of life, which is all about change, activating all of our powers to do things, to create new experiences. Wow, lots and lots and lots of things. That's why I'm dressed in orange. That's what the color of this activate, this breath of life, the fifth glyph in our rainbow healing. And I will talk about those. So I have the orange essential oil here with me. So I'm going to apply that. How many of you have orange essential oil? How many like the color orange? Well, if we're going to reboot, to recreate, to do things differently, it's very, very important that we have that frequency inherent, running through us, through every portion of our being, so that color, that orange, that vibrancy will ignite the fire in each of us to reboot and to do things differently. If things are not working for you, if you feel that it's just overwhelming, that things just, you're not happy about it, then it's time to put that behind you. Now, this is one of the most magnificent blends that Gary Young ever created, in my estimation. It's part of the Feelings collection, Present Time. Get in the present. It does not matter what has happened in the past. The past is behind us. We can create whatever we choose to create. As we pull back, I'm going to take some of the present time because I'm choosing to remain in present time. And to really pay attention to what is going on around me in this present moment, as it's what I do in this present moment that will create the next moment. We can create any kind of ending that we choose. We can begin at any moment, any present moment, to do things differently. And it's all about committing to change. Stephen, I'm using your words again. It's all about committing to change. Are you committed to change anything? Now, I resisted change most of my life. And upon a lot of reflection over the past years, I realized that actually trusting in the guidance that I'm getting may have a lot more to do with my ability to accept change. If you trust in the guidance that you're getting from the source, in the experiences that are surrounding you, that are coming to you, if we trust that these are preparing us, that they may be even a test to see if we're ready to move to that next level of service. If we trust, that trust is coming from the heart. If we question, okay, which I did, if we are resisting, we are questioning. And where does resistance come from? Resistance comes from the brain. It actually also comes from the ego. We don't like to think about that. But the ego and the brain are really the same thing. So it's a question of our eliminating the resistance by getting into our heart. How do we do that? Well, there are many ways of getting into the heart. In our rainbow healing, we have our steps, because I'm such a progressive person, liking to do things step by step, laying out a plan. The math teacher comes out periodically, even though the math teacher is long gone. This idea of doing things repetitively, because when we do things once, they're not done forever. Everything is changing at all times. If we think of ourselves as like a watercolor of frequencies, all of these beautiful colors floating around, we can capture the ones that we choose at any time. So are you choosing to capture those beautiful, harmonious energies that will lift you high up? Or are you choosing to live down in the murky darkness? Now, my visual, of course, I also love to swim. It was the water line, and the farther, the deeper you go down in the water, the murkier, the darker it becomes. And even at the very bottom, in an unclean ocean, you can drop down. You can actually sink down in the silt that's down there. And that's the murky heaviness that holds us all back. Or we can be up here in these beautiful elevated frequencies, creating whatever we choose to create. And that's what our refinement list, rebooting our refinement. I would encourage each one of you this week to really sit down, take some time, reboot your refinement list. I love to do this at least once a month. The new moon is a wonderful time. That's that emptiness full of possibilities where we can fill it with anything. It's starting with an empty vessel. I love to start with my empty vessel, putting down those things that I really, really choose to have in my life. Those things that are really important to me, and those things that I really choose not to allow in my life, that I will not allow in my life. Now, they don't disappear overnight. and neither does everything on the side that you choose to have. Do I have it right? Yes. They don't appear overnight either. It's a process. And it's a process of prioritizing what really is important at that present moment. And the priorities do change. I'm totally amazed at how my priorities, particularly when I'm working with my refinement list every single day of the month, every day of the year, I'm working with the refinement list. Yet when I start with a fresh, clean slate, the things that I put down on my list are not always the things that were the most important to me previously. It's kind of a game, if you are a fun person liking to play a game. It's kind of a game to look back and see the difference. And our priorities, we can live according to our priorities. Many of us feel like we don't have enough time to do this. Well, our priorities are reflected by the way we spend our time. How much time do you spend on other things? Be realistic. I'm not criticizing. I do it too. I'm always startled to see how much time and money that I invest in things that really have no importance, no real importance to me. They're not what I really choose to be doing with the precious, precious moments that I have in this lifetime. So it's all about choosing and committing to change. Are you ready to commit to change, to fresh new beginnings, to take some risks? Well, one of the things that I find, the fastest way I find to really just step back, unplug, is I have notes all around, but I can't read them while I'm talking. So I put them in a 5-thing, BOSHA. Breathe. Use essential oils. Create your sacred space. And for those of you who aren't familiar, our sacred space is where we connect with the source above. We connect with the earth through the base chakra, the bottom of the spine and the bottoms of each foot. Pushing out, putting up our boundaries, our red filter on the outside to filter out both ways the things that are not helpful. Our gold and silver boundaries, really getting into our sacred space, and then intending with this connection to get into our heart, to get out of our brain, to get into our heart, to connect with the source, the creator, through your heart, and listen. Listen without the brain. Listen with the heart. And really pay attention. Write these things down. And intend to do this. If you're choosing to reboot, make that commitment to change, the commitment to do something, not just to think about doing it, but to really do something. Sometimes we make a commitment to do things that we really have no intention of doing. I'm guilty of it, truly. And why would we say we're going to do something if we're not fully committed? So I challenge you this week to really get into your sacred space, to get into your heart, listen to your heart, and allow the source to guide you. So have a beautiful, beautiful week filled with lots of self-discovery, self-reflection, and rebooting, getting your energy back to the place that you are comfortable and happy, and then giving it another boot up. We can reboot and reboot and reboot, getting higher and higher and higher. And I'll look forward to seeing you next Sunday.